So, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for another Accessibility Lunch and Learn with today's session with CNIB and their Come to Work program in Atlantic Canada. I'm Julie Glazer, the manager for the Equity, Anti-Racism, and Accessibility program for the Association of Municipal Administrators of Nova Scotia. And I'd also like to point out Roxanne Pereira is here with us today on her second day of work as the Equity, Anti-Racism, and Accessibility Program Coordinator for the Association of Municipal Administrators of Nova Scotia. And you'll all get to know Roxanne more going forward throughout the next few months. This program is funded by the Province of Nova Scotia's Department of Justice through the Accessibility Directorate to help meet the province's accessibility goals by 2030, with support to municipalities through training, education, tools, and resources. This session is being recorded as a resource for municipalities in your work on this file. I'm pleased to welcome your presenter today from CNIB, Katie Chernick. Katie is the program lead for CNIB's Come to Work program in Atlantic Canada. She's been with the program for over 4 years, working toward a world where everyone can participate fully and meaningfully in the life that they choose. Katie is currently continuing her education in the social work field, working on her master's degree at Dalhousie University. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today, folks. So really quick, I'm just going to go over about who we are at CNIB so everyone kind of has an understanding. So CNIB is a nonprofit organization driven to change what it is to be blind today. And we deliver innovative programs and powerful advocacy that empower people who are impacted by blindness to live the dreams that they choose and tear down barriers to inclusion. And our work as a blind foundation is powered by a network of volunteers, donors, and partners like yourselves from coast to coast to coast. So our programs include things like advocacy and career support, like Come to Work, which I'll talk about today. Children and youth programs, our CNIB Guide Dog program, CNIB Lake Joe, which is a summer camp located in Ontario, culture, sport, and rec programs, a literacy program, including Braille classes, and technology programs, which includes things like magnification for those with low vision or screen reader training for those with no vision. All right, so to start off, I want you all to take a moment to kind of go through a scenario with me. So imagine that you're trying to log on to the Zoom meeting today and it doesn't let you in at all. It tells you that, you need to update your software. And so you do that and you try again. But then it blocks you again because you don't have the correct link. So you have to take even more time to find that. Now you're finally in your meeting and you think everything's going to be good. It's smooth sailing from here. But now your manager's showing some essential slideshows that you need and able to do your job, but the screen isn't working. You can't see any video. So what are you supposed to do? How will you know the information if you can't see the slides? And so I just wanted you to take a second to imagine that, which I'm sure we've all had a version of that problem. Um, but as a person with sight loss, this is kind of a version of what they might experience in all aspects of their lives. So it could be a website with important municipal information that doesn't work with their assistive tech, or maybe it's like a bank or a store that they go to that has a touch screen system and that's hard to see. So they have to give their personal card information to the staff member ringing through their purchases. Or even like a transit system with no audible signal. So, the person might have to yell out to the bus driver to make sure that they're getting on the right bus. And that's assuming that there is transit in place because, some rural communities, it's a little hard to come by. Um, but all of this to say that there's a bunch of little things that we take for granted every day with some minor adjustments can make the world of difference for someone with sight loss. And this is really my passion in working with CNIB and Come to Work. So if we can share some of these little things with groups like yourselves, it means that folks with sight loss can have a more meaningful participation in their community. So whether, that's in their own lives at home or within the city or town that they live. And just another quick point too is that, um, you know, it's really great that some of these adjustments are made because they can help other folks that are experiencing other barriers as well. So folks like seniors whose eyesight is deteriorating, or folks with low literacy skills, or folks with learning disabilities. So it might feel like you're just making a change for one single group, but I find that it can actually help so many more people, and it makes you open and flexible to being more accommodating for anything that anyone needs, really. So, what role does come to work play in all of that big thing? Um, just gonna change the slide. So, we want to build a relationship with organizations so that folks with sight loss can be more meaningfully engaged in the work that they choose. And to make it successful, we have two kind of main arms of our program. So, one is working one on one with job seekers with sight loss to make sure that they have the skills necessary to do well in their job search and in the workplace. So, we provide group workshops and one on one support with general workplace skills and etiquette, as well as support that's targeted to their vision needs. And we're behind them no matter what step of the process they're in with their career and their journey. So the other arm is by connecting with businesses and organizations to make sure that they have the information, the resources, the skills to understand what it means to be more equitable and accessible for sight loss. And once we've kind of established that relationship, then we share the information of the business or the organization with our job seekers. And so not only is that beneficial for the organization that might be looking to hire from a new pool of talent, but folks from the sight loss community often are pretty loyal to places that prioritize accessibility, meaning that they're also going to encourage others to go to that business, to participate with that organization, to be involved with the municipality. And it's been shown by quite a few studies as well that organizations that are more equitable and accommodating have better morale and business longevity. So it's really good all around. So you might be thinking, yes, I do want to engage more folks, or, I do want to make the organization more equitable. And it sounds like everyone's doing a really great job already. But I know it can feel like a really big project sometimes. And it's true that it can be a little bit of work, but the benefits, are definitely worth it. So to make it a little bit easier, Come to Work um, will provide some guidance on things that you would want to consider. So some things, like, this is not an exhaustive list, but it could be the technology. So websites, software, point of sales, time clocks, that kind of thing. We work with another CNIB program that will assess your websites and your software and make sure it's accommodating and accessible to screen readers and that kind of thing. So they can do a formal assessment and provide suggestions about any changes that need to be made. The other thing is clear print and signage. So that might be tactile signage. That might be making sure your handouts are in clear print, not too busy, making sure they're also available in alternate formats. So electronic and print, those kinds of things. The other one is recruitment, hiring, and retention practices. So we help you to look at job requirements. So are the job requirements that you list, are they really necessary? So does everyone need a driver's license, or can things like accessible public transit, can that be used instead? We also look at job posting format and location. So, making sure that folks can actually access the job posting is really important. And making sure that your postings are put in a location that folks will actually see it. If it's just on a website, then, people might not interact with that. But engaging with the community, engaging with CNIB, make sure that you kind of get in front of our clients and they know more about you. Also, interview questions, what you can versus can't ask, and considering the person's skills instead of just seeing their sight loss. And we also do awareness training to promote, less bias in the hiring process. And then we do retention as well. Next is job accommodations as well. So, we make those suggestions of flexible hours, maybe. So things that are low tech, lighting changes is also something we commonly use, or maybe moving the desk around so there's no glare. Those kinds of things, all the way up to higher tech accommodations. So that's things like screen readers, maybe CCTVs. So basically, like a big screen that magnifies a piece of paper. And then another area to consider is understanding sight loss and accommodation. So, what is sight loss? What are some best etiquette practices, especially in meetings? So, a lot of folks I encourage in virtual meetings or even in person, when a team member is new, or if it's a public meeting, maybe where folks don't know each other, just announcing your name before you speak so folks know who you are, who's speaking, because sometimes it can be hard to get used to people's voices at first. It takes a little time. So those kinds of things. And again, understanding what accommodations are out there. So the screen readers, magnifiers, there's lots of stuff built into computers already. So things like magnification, like Zoom is available, and a lot of computers have a free screen reader already. So that's already in there. It's great. And some free phone apps that are very helpful, which I have a couple examples on the next slide. I'll get to those in a second. So at no cost, we have the opportunity to work kind of hand in hand with you to make sure that you feel confident in delivering services that are accessible and equitable. And in return, we always hope that folks like yourselves are going to be able to help us build our clients' skills by doing things like attending one of our quarterly virtual networking events, where we have our job seekers come in and meet with hiring managers and do some networking there, or even becoming a mentor on a continuing or one-off basis, just so folks have an idea of what kind of jobs are out there, if there's something they're interested in, or even just learning basic workplace etiquette that you might not know unless you're working or been in the field for a while. We also do information sessions, so folks can learn about the businesses, the organizations that are out there. And we also love to have opportunities for HR folks, managers to come in and provide information sessions to our clients about, what do they look for when they're hiring? What do they want to see on a resume? What are some interview best practices? What should you do once you get the job? That kind of thing. So doing even just, one or two of these things is always such a big help for our clients. Those that are breaking into the job market or trying to rejoin after a change in their vision so that they can feel more confident and capable. All right. So next, these are the apps that I mentioned just a second ago. I thought it'd be kind of fun to share them. They're very useful to a lot of our clients, a lot of folks just in their everyday life or in in a workplace as well, because everyone has their phone on them. So it's super easy to use. So the first one, I have the logo on the left for Seeing AI, and the logo is a little shape of an eye. So this app uses the power of AI to describe to people text, currency, color, objects, and other people. So by using your phone camera, Seeing AI can speak things like short text as soon as it appears in front of the camera, which can be great for reading signage or anything like that. It can also scan barcodes and guided audio cues to identify the products in a store. So if someone's shopping around, they want to know what's in the store, they can use that. It can also describe scenes around you. So if you want to know what's in the environment, I feel like this one's still a little new, so it can be a little strange sometimes, a little inaccurate, but overall it's pretty good. It can also be really helpful for, if you need to find a light switch on the wall or an outlet for your device, or just see, kind of what's in the room around you. It can also identify bills if you're paying cash, which is pretty cool, and recognize and describe people around you and their facial expressions. And this feature is why a lot of our staff call it the the party game app. So it can kind of be funny to hear, how a person is described by AI. Sometimes it attempts guessing an age, so that can be a little scary if it's guessing your age, but always kind of cool to see what it can do. So the other one I wanted to share is called Be My Eyes, and that logo is on the right. I guess with the little sun logo on the left side and the Be My Eyes written on the right. And this app connects blind and low vision users who want sighted assistance with volunteers anywhere in the world through live video and artificial intelligence. They just rolled out the artificial intelligence. So this one's pretty cool. It's new to me. And it's especially helpful for folks who, prefer to be independent and they don't want to ask family or friends all of the time for that kind of visual help. And these are both free services. Seeing AI and Be My Eyes are both totally free. So great to use anytime, day or night as well. The volunteers for Be My Eyes are available. And I also wanted to mention that Be My Eyes has rolled out an accessible service suite that provides a suite of software solutions for corporate and government organizations that want to connect with and provide more engaging experiences for their blind or low vision customers. So this one's pretty new to me, but it seems like if anyone is looking on a website and they need a little bit of assistance, they can use this accessible service suite that the company participates in, and they're connected with folks that can help them navigate the website or answer any questions. So again, this one's a little new. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but it sounds wonderful. Microsoft is using it. Microsoft is one of the developers with Be My Eyes. So, they're very, they have a lot of powerful technology for that. So definitely worth checking that out. So let's see. I just have a page of resources. So I know you folks are going to be having lunch and learns with us again in the future, but this is just a list of some basic information. So our CNIB programs, our sister organization, Vision Loss Rehabilitation, their website. There's also CNIB Deafblind Community Services. There is a link for a sighted guide technique. So if you ever are with someone who has sight loss and you want to offer them some support in navigating a space, you can ask them if they want sighted guide support. And those videos can give you some tips on how to do it respectfully. And I did include a link to the Government of Canada website and our Come to Work email address as well. So lots of information for you to check out, and I feel like I've thrown quite a bit at you. So I guess I'm opening the floor to any questions about our program or, any specific things around accessibility in the workplace that you folks would like to go over.
That's fantastic, Katie. I learned so much in half an hour. I really appreciate that. I have a few questions, but I'm going to open the floor first for folks. And I'd also like to read out Elise Johnson's comment on seeing AI. So Elise says, I love showing folks seeing AI. It often needs internet connection though. She says, my neighbor loves to choose which soup he wants to make. uh, and Rachel says, thank you for the great presentation. So yeah, does anybody have any specific questions they'd like to ask Katie about anything that she shared with us today? Michelle?
Yeah, I was wondering, we're in quite a rural area, and I haven't had a chance to look at all the programs that are offered yet. And I was just wondering if they were offered in more rural areas or it was more like Halifax centric or how that worked.
Yeah, it's definitely more Halifax centric, but we do travel to different communities. We have CNIB mobile hubs where we have a group of staff, travel around the province and meet with folks, answer any questions, provide a little bit of programming. But we also do have some folks in different communities, especially up in Cape Breton, that kind of run some programming for us and make sure if there's anything folks need that they have access to that. But yeah, it is a little bit more Halifax centric, but we support everyone in the province and do that traveling when we can.
You.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Katie? All right, I'm going to pop in here. So you had mentioned the kind of the resource of folks who would help do reviews of our digital assets. So, for example, our websites. How do we access that? Is there a fee? How does that roll out? Because that is certainly something that the municipalities are concerned about is their accessibility of their websites.
Yeah, so they are called Frontier Technology now. They recently changed their name. And they, again, are a part of CNIB. They do charge a small fee.
Mhm.
I believe they started charging a fee for the assessment, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll have to look into that. But what they do is they will take a look at your websites, your programs, and check for how easy it is to navigate. Are the links do they say where it's going, or is it just a jumble of numbers, that kind of thing? And once they have that report ready for you, they can either do that, like make those changes for you, or you can have your technology team, whoever kind of does that back end stuff, they can do it themselves. So, we're kind of flexible with that. We just want to provide you the information about, what can be improved and how to do it. So I can share that link to the website for you as well as their contact information.
Yeah, that would be great, Katie. I'm just looking online here, but I'm seeing like there's a technology company in New Brunswick, and I don't think that's them.
Okay.
But yeah, are you able to pop it in the chat, or if you want to share it with me afterwards, then I can definitely share it with folks.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, because that's something we get questions about, and what we've been looking at doing with our support for municipalities is developing a list of resources of persons with disabilities who can help to do those audits, whether they are of their built environment. So, for example, we know that there are people involved with CNIB's Clearing Our Path, and that's
Yeah.
actually going to be one of the presentations coming up, or if it's reviewing digital assets, which include obviously websites or social media and online forums and things like that. So, yeah, that would be great to include in the resource development.
Yeah, I think this one's really good. Okay, so it is under the name Access Labs. So
Okay.
let me pop it into the chat.
Oh, there we go.
There.
Great. Super. Thanks. Okay, we will definitely be adding this.
Wonderful. Yeah, and if there's any other ones like that that I can think of, I'll definitely share it with you to add to
Mhm.
that kind of list.
The other question that I have for you is so under the Accessibility Act, municipalities are required to have accessibility advisory committees, and there has to be a percentage of people with first voice experience on those committees. And some municipalities, particularly rural communities, have a harder time recruiting people with disabilities to those committees. So that remains a challenge, and I'm wondering if CNIB can help us in that way to access folks who live in rural communities to become aware of the opportunity to participate in these accessibility advisory committees.
Yeah, definitely. So we can share that information out with our clients that are in those regions. I find, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's great to have that call out there, but if it's not being put in front of the community that it's targeting, then the results not might not be as great. They might be a little bit more difficult. So those kinds of things you can share with us at CNIB, and we can pass it on to our clients, and specifically those in that region, so they know it's needed. They need someone to kind of join that to make things a little bit better. And yeah, we can definitely help with that kind of thing.
That's fantastic. So yeah, Roxanne, maybe we can put together a communication, that can go out with the presentation kind of recap of today with some of the resources, and ask folks in regions if they're still looking for members for their committees, and that CNIB would help to make contact with folks in those regions for
Yeah.
the opportunity. Great, thank you.
We have CNIB monthly newsletters that go out, but we can also reach out individually to folks as well. So lots of opportunities there.
Excellent. Your monthly newsletters, do you so that would be a really great opportunity to take some I guess some information coming from the municipalities. Is that something that you do, that you're open to receiving input into your newsletters from other community groups or municipalities, organizations?
Yeah, so we have one monthly newsletter that's more geared towards programming that's happening at CNIB, and that's done up by another one of our staff members. So I can connect with her. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to share that information. But we also do a come to work newsletter specifically for those
Mm,
job seekers. And we could include that no problem in there as well.
great, thank you. Okay, I have one more question.
Sure.
I always have all the questions. The other one was your quarterly networking events. And are they online or are they in person? Can you tell us a little bit more about those for job seekers and also for the opportunities for municipalities to meet with folks with vision loss? Uh, to see what the opportunities are within the organizational settings.
Yeah, definitely. So our virtual networking events, they happen, like I said, quarterly. So you can go to one, you can go to a few of them, um, and they are virtual. They're over Zoom. Um, we typically have folks from across Canada. So it's a lot of big organizations like big businesses like Microsoft and Apple and big banks and that kind of thing that attend, um, just so our job seekers can meet with them and see, how to get into their organizations. So we would be more than happy to have you folks join as well. Um, there would be folks from across Canada joining, so they might want to meet with you. You never know; they might
Mm,
want to move to Nova Scotia. But another option that we could do as well is kind of set up our own regional networking, either with a few different organizations or focusing on the municipalities. Um, so I don't know, depending on what we think would work best, what would get the most uptake from folks. I'd be happy to look into all those options.
yeah, I love that idea. I'm curious to hear from other folks who are here from the municipalities today, what they think about that idea and engaging their HR folks with this in this conversation. Going once, going twice. Okay, well then, Katie, you and I, you and I will talk about that. Okay, so Steph
Yep.
said she would definitely send it to HR. Great, thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I almost wonder if if this could actually be a session for the HR professionals at the municipalities, just to kind of, um, understand what the opportunities are if they aren't aware, because these are also issues that that the municipalities are looking at in terms of their policies and accommodations. This is an area for development, particularly policy review around HR and the workplace. So that would be really helpful, I think.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, we're always looking to connect with anyone in an HR position. That would be great.
Mhm. Great, Elise. Oh, Elise, I see your hand up. She can't unmute. Okay. So do you want to type and I will and I'll read? Yes. Elise is wondering about input into the employment standards and uh, and was CNIB able to give some input into the employment standards with the Accessibility Directorate?
Yeah, so we did provide some input. We had folks from offices across Canada provide input, and then myself, Shelley, who you've been in
Mhm.
contact with, and Louis Greco. We have the three of us provided some input, and that was really really great to do, and we saw some great suggestions in there already. But yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Elise says, great, thought so. This will help get the policy included in all accessibility plans. That's what we're looking for. Yes, thank you.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. Yeah, thank you so much. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions that they'd like to share? I can either read them out or you can take yourself off mute. And if none, I'd like to say that we do have 3 more sessions coming up with CNIB. One of them will be on the rights and responsibilities of guide dogs and how that can also help inform your policies within municipal settings. We also will be doing a session on clearing our path, which is related to the built environment. And what's the fourth one, Katie? There is a fourth one. My my memory loss is not bringing it to the top of my mind right now, but there are 3 more sessions coming up with CNIB, and we're looking at rolling those into the reschedule for Wednesdays. So we'll let everybody know when those come out. So thank you so much, Katie, for taking the time today to share the Come to Work program with us. I learned a lot. I have a lot of notes and some technology to look up, and definitely going to be checking out the folks at Access Lab and sharing that resource with our municipalities to do those reviews of digital assets. Thank you.
And thank you all for having me. I know it might not have sounded like it was related to what you all are doing, but I think it's some great information, and anyone that you can share this with would be spectacular. And I think Access Labs is going to be wonderful for you all.
And this is very much related to the work that we are doing. So thank you very much. Yeah, this is exactly what we need right now to hear from organizations like CNIB. And, really ultimately the goal for municipalities are to be inclusive workplaces so that persons with disabilities have access to the roles that are available in our communities, which are really, they're good jobs and doing important work. And we want the municipalities to be able to support the inclusion of all people and talents, knowledge and expertise into those settings. So thank you very much for sharing with us the opportunities to do that.
Thank you. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out, and I can send, a quick overview as well if you want to share that out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that would be great too. Yeah, that would be fabulous. I will definitely add that. Thank you, Katie.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for
Bye.
having me, everyone. Bye-bye.